The correspondence to the to the meeting minutes, in the meeting minutes. I'm sorry, meeting agenda. Let me find where I am. Okay, here we go. The first item, which will be on the first item of correspondence, is from Dan Barrett to me regarding a suggestion that we create a recreational shellfishing subcommittee, and that's going to be an agenda item, so we can deal with that as we go along. The second item is Don Raffo has gotten us permission to link that on the water, the on the water article on shellfishing, which was quite extensive and very basic how-to guidance. And so I appreciate that, Don. I have not yet done it, but that'll probably be a weekend thing. And a little correspondence from Jay Spalding. This does not have to go in the minutes.
Okay.
He is the chairman of the Stonington Harbor Management Commission. And I sent him a copy. I should have mentioned this in the public hearing, but I sent a copy to the Harbor Management Commission, the First Selectman's Office, the land use office, and all of the basic folks who need to be informed about the application. But Jay got back to me and said that they're getting ready to create their newsletter for 2021, and he asked me to write a brief article about the Shellfish Commission. And Rob, are you still here? You're on mute, I see. Are you with us, Rob? Looks like he's checked. He's not in right now. I was going to ask him if there's any specific comments that he wanted me to make in that article.
My only question, Don, is this an opportunity to indicate that we have aquaculture production in Little Narragansett Bay, and that the public should stay away, or I don't know how you want to word
Yeah,
that.
I would, and that's exactly what I was thinking about. And they always like a picture, and we've done this three years in a row. I think this would be our third year doing it, and usually it's just about enforcement and saying that the shellfishing is not permitted in Little Narragansett Bay. But I was thinking this year of emphasizing the aquaculture, and also the fact that the folks who do aquaculture give us oysters in repayment. So I was going to use a picture from Rob of the oyster distribution, and then put a paragraph in there about that. Well, I'll put a few sentences in there about that. But I will also include anything about something about avoiding the gear area.
Good.
And I'll talk to Rob about it as well.
I'm here now, Don.
The next item is on the correspondences from Beth Gomes. She's the woman who's interested in doing aquaculture off of Murphy Point, and just saying that she plans to submit it soon, and it has not yet shown up. And finally, no, I take it back. It's not finally. I've ordered some new permits from AgJo, because people are starting to buy permits, and I'm really down to almost none to give out, and they'll be ready next week. And this is one, which is finally, I guess there's one more after that. A lot of correspondence. We've been requested by the Bureau of Aquaculture, Kristen DeRosia Bannock, to write a letter of support for some research in Long Island Sound on oystering, and that's an agenda item, and we'll talk about that. Alan will talk about that. I am a member of the Sea Grants Senior Advisory Committee, so I cannot participate in that discussion, and so I'm going to pass it off to Alan when we get there in the agenda. And finally, there was some correspondence that I had with Catherine Ellis, who's the oceanology teacher at Stonington High School. I go into her class usually, pre-COVID, once a year to talk about the water and oceans and that sort of thing. Usually not shellfish, although I get some shellfish in there. But she has a student who's interested in pursuing marine science, and the student is a young woman, and she's going to be a senior this coming year. And she's looking at opportunities for internships or something like that. And I'm going to pass that email on to Tessa to see if we have any, she knows of anything that would help that kid out. So that's it for correspondence. Okay. So the next item is the water quality and testing status. We had a nice February, except for the weather part. We were open all month, and had a couple of small rainfalls, but mainly our precipitation was white and cold. Sampled on the 24th, and the numbers were good. I was unable to get to one of the stations because it was too rough, walking across the sandbar. So that's pretty much it for that. Any questions about the, Alan, do you want to say a few words about the, I don't know if you could do this in a few words, the rain gauge? No, you're muted, Alan.
Well, we continue to, now that the cold, the very cold and frosty winter is behind us, we're continuing to monitor the rainfall, both in our plastic gauge and with the Davis unit. As the spring moves along, we'll keep that record, but we continue to see discrepancies between the plastic gauge and the Davis unit. Davis unit essentially is reading low. I've been in touch with the people at Davis. They have been very slow to respond to my emails. I've been asking them about the function of wind with regard to the tipping buckets to see if there's any impact that they acknowledge that wind has those tipping buckets. Because when we have had high winds, 35, 45 mile an hour wind, we have extremely high reading on our Davis gauge.
Error, yeah.
My next move is to call them. I've been emailing, but that's been very responsive. So I'm going to call them next.
Okay.
We also have some assistance from the roundtable that we had participated in January, and Kristen has said that she has some experience with these Davis gauges, and I think the next thing we need to do is get our Davis gauge online, and so it's completely functional. And then I think we can begin to tinker with it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So I'll contact the IT folks at the people who run the sewage treatment plant and get that moving.
Right.
Thanks, Alan. Okay. So the next item is commercial shellfishing report. We pushed it up on our meeting schedule to give the opportunity for the commercial folks to go off and do other things if they have to do other things, family stuff, and so it'll be earlier in our meeting from now on, and I'll put it after the water quality testing and status of the conditional areas. So I'll start with Steve Plant. Steve, you got anything to say?
Nothing major. Weather's going to break next week. That's awful nice. I mean, it's been a fairly easy to go winter. You know, volumes are down anyway because of the whole COVID thing. So it's been fairly easy to keep up. And nothing really to report.
Okay, thank you. Garrett, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. But yeah, pretty slow on my end. I haven't really had a need to harvest very much. But I have some stuff out there and it's doing fine. I had a lost cage or two that I took the winter. I pick a nice day, a low tide and a sunny sky, and I was able to see down to the bottom at my depuration site. I could see. I found a cage that way.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna drag some stuff around and find it, but yeah, I got out there and it was so clear. In like 15 feet, I could see the ripples in the sand on the bottom and the shells. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
So it's just been putting around with that kind of stuff. The boats up the Pawcatuck that worked out pretty well this winter, and we had a seal washing trip last weekend. That was good.
Where are you keeping the boat, Garrett?
Well, I haven't really had occasion to do a lot of work or harvesting this winter, but so it hasn't affected me too much. But I moved it up to Mechanic Street Marina. That's where the Stonington Kelp Company works out of. So, they're always they're present all the time, and they're really cool folks, and so that's worked out.
Okay, good to hear. Good to hear. Let's see. So, Will, are you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Do you have anything to report?
No, nothing.
Nothing.
I think I'm blanking on his name, but the technological guy that was helping you guys design the shell measurer at Pine Point. We are in early talks of trying to figure out a remote water quality monitoring setup for Cush maybe, and if not, just for the kids to have a project to do. So we'll see where that goes. But
yeah,
nothing.
Who's that, Alan? Who is that?
I just had.
Hang on. I can tell you in a second.
I just had.
First name's Rush.
Yeah.
Hambleton. I think is how you pronounce his last name.
That's right.
Okay.
Rush.
But
Yep.
I don't know who he is. Okay. Okay. Terrific.
yeah.
Okay. So moving on to C, and so with John's suggestion, if we could just put under C that the application by Mr. Nake has been withdrawn. Okay, so on to D, which is to discuss the establishment of a recreational shellfishing subcommittee. And I'll turn that over to Dan. You with us, Dan?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
Would you lead that discussion?
Well, we have quite a bit to cover on that, but I was wondering how many of us could meet so that we could put a package together and save time and share it with the Shellfish Commission. Can we meet 2 of us or 3 of us without a public hearing?
It's See, 3 is a quorum.
Okay,
It's just 2 because 3 is a quorum, and anytime 3 folks meet, Shellfish Commission folks, that's an actual meeting. And it's you can do it, and certainly, you know, that's, you can think about that, but that raises the bureaucracy.
well, we did meet. I met with Austin, so I guess we were okay.
Yeah,
We were
right.
looking at possibilities of outreach, different programs, which would possibly involve, say, Steve Plant, this new for you, Steve, or Garrett, on how we could get them involved and how we could get some of the shellfish restaurants involved and have a type of education hands-on at the dock when we can do all that. And we had some other things we wanted to do. Can you think of any, Austin, offhand? Are you there, Austin?
Well, I think one of the ideas that can you hear me, Dan?
Yes.
I think one of the ideas we were talking about is perhaps floating the idea with the town that we see if we can't have either a shellfish day festival or a clam festival, and have it a combination of perhaps a cook-off and some education for students, and maybe get the state's aquaculture bureau to have a display.
And also have a demo on the dock and maybe sell permits and show them shucking and so on. In other words, give them an education on how we monitor our beds, how we take care of the shellfish, how we harvest the equipment. It's a whole list of things that we'd like to share someday, a package.
Yeah.
When we can get together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite a way ahead at the moment.
Yeah, I would, there's a couple of things. One is that we were actually heading down that path before COVID. The first selectwoman, Danielle Cheeseborough, wanted to put together a program where the various town activities like the Shellfish Commission would have displays over at a by the high school in the field behind the human services facility over there where we used to meet. But COVID, and we had a meeting or two in town hall. I think Steve Plant attended one of the meetings, and we were actually heading down in that direction to do that sort of thing, where we would sell permits and we would have a demonstration and all that sort of stuff. But COVID blew that out of the water. So my guess is that she's not going to forget this, and we may have an opportunity to do it as part of a town-wide, start off with doing it as part of a town-wide effort, which would reduce the overhead that we would have to put into it.
Well, and Steve Plant had a good idea with posters that would be included in this whole program for restaurants to go.
Happy to help in any way possible.
Yep.
Great.
That was a good shot, Steve.
Yep. So I guess the thing is, if I'm certainly happy to. I don't know that we have to very formally appoint a subcommittee, but if 2 people are willing to work on developing plans to improve our outreach and that sort of stuff, I'm happy as can be about it. If you can,
I have with Austin, so maybe to start, before we add anyone else, we could continue to work on a package to present to the commission.
that would be fabulous.
I'd like more people.
Murph, I'd like to jump in for a second if I could.
Go ahead, John.
No, this is Austin.
Oh.
When you mentioned outreach, I thought I wanted to mention to the rest of the members the very good job that Alan did when we had when Tessa sponsored the state Shellfish Commission's meeting online 2 weeks ago. And Alan, I'd like just to see if you got the same sense when it came to the time where they had every individual town report on their issues, comments, and concerns. Tessa really was promoting the outreach aspect of what each town was doing. And I wondered, Alan, if you got that sense.
Yes, I certainly did, yes. And it was a focal point for many of the towns. Yes, she did highlight the town outreach.
Yeah, so I'm happy to pass that off to Austin and Dan, and if they can develop a plan and bring it to the commission, we can talk about it.
That okay with you, Austin?
You bet. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm on board, so let's say it's
If you guys-
official.
If you guys want some
Yep.
input, include me in, because I'm not on the commission, so I don't count as number 3.
Good point.
Who's
Okay.
that?
But you count for us. We
Oh,
count.
Steve Plant?
Well, thanks.
Love to have you. So there'd be 2.5.
There you go.
Great, thank you. Okay,
That's great.
so I guess you're up next, Austin, on the shellfish game. Is there anything new?
Well, I don't know how many of you know Matt Bedoin at Mystic Knotworks, but I visited with him over sometime in not too distant future, past, and got a name from him of a plastic manufacturer in the Hartford area, because I was trying to get a couple of different people to talk to me about it and what the cost of production might be. And after visiting with this guy, back and forth, emails and on the phone, you know, I sent him a copy of the first, you know, runs of the things that I got. And when it was all said and done, he runs a big fabricating plant, and he was hard pressed to bring the unit cost down less than $5 a unit, even in
Wow.
plastic. Yeah.
Wow.
So Tuesday, I went out to Watertown, Connecticut, and visited with a fellow that, they make precision molding parts and that sort of stuff, and had a nice visit with him, and, brought a copy of the gauge, and we've talked, for a while, and he thought that he could make a decent amount of quantity at a price point of probably less than $3. And I thought that was reasonable.
Yeah.
And so I told him to go ahead and make a small limited production run. And Don Raffalo, you'd be pleased to know that I think that yellow is a better color than the dark blue. I just picked blue because that's Stonington's colors. So I've asked him to make this first quantity in yellow. And I think he's improved the surface quality. And so when he gets, maybe 20 or 30 of these made, he's going to ship them to me, and we'll see what the quality looks like. And then we have to decide whether we want to package them in some sort of a blister pack or just sell them, as they look.
Okay. So I look forward to that.
Okay.
The next item is the discussion of the letter of support for the research that's being conducted on oysters and the various impacts that disease and climate change has on it. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm on the steering committee for the, not the steering committee, but the advisory committee for Sea Grant in Connecticut. And so, and this involves Sea Grant, so I have to not participate in the discussion or any votes that would happen during it. And so I asked Alan to run with this agenda item, and he is going to tell us what the research is about and ask the commission what they would like to do. So, Alan?
Thanks, Don. This is a Noaa proposal, and I think in your package there's a very extensive rundown of what this is all about. To encapsulate it, summarize it, the PI, the primary investigator, is Penny Vlahos, who's an associate professor. She's a PhD chemical oceanographer, and she's the primary person in charge of this proposal. There are several co-PIs whom we are familiar with. Jim Markow is a co-PI. Jimmy Bloom is a co-PI. Tessa Gettis Daba is also a co-PI, as well as Kristen. And what this study is going to look at are the threats to aquaculture, commercial aquaculture. The environmental threats, hypoxia, ocean acidification, extreme rainfall and drought. And the goal is to ensure resilience of the oyster aquaculture production for the eastern oyster, and to try to better understand the effects of ocean acidification, disease, salinity, dissolved oxygen, and I have emailed back and forth with Dr. Vlahos, and I understand that their body of water that they're considering is the Thames River. So part of this study will be some in situ research and sampling, but it will also be modeling, so developing models. And in my correspondence with her, I told her that we have 7 active licenses for aquaculture in Stonington waters.
Just went up to
I don't
8
think she
tonight.
was aware. Well, it's, but Will is, that's just a different location for Will. But I am going to urge her to consider some of the research and sampling to be done in Stonington waters. This goal is to maximize sustainability shellfish yields in a changing Long Island Sound environment. They're going to monitor key geochemical parameters, monitor oyster growth and health, evaluate the physiology and response of oysters to various growth steps, evaluate disease progression, such as dermo, for instance, and some bioorganic model to simulate all of these changing environmental parameters. So I put together a letter that I would propose that we, send to Dr. Vlahos at the University of Connecticut, supporting this effort, and hopefully we will be the beneficiaries of some of this research. So that's a thumbnail of what's going on. Any questions?
Alan, did you say that in your letter you are going to urge them to consider some of the research to be done in Stonington waters?
I have to look at the draft again, but I think I have highlighted the fact that we have 7 aquaculturists working in our waters, and that we would benefit from some of this research. So yes, that is a part of this letter of support.
Alan, are they doing a lot on the algae in our area?
I don't see that as a part of this proposal, but that's not to say that it wouldn't be.
Okay.
I can certainly ask, Dan. Yep.
Right.
Any other questions?
Alan, especially the invasive variety, is that what I meant?
Okay. So I'll put this letter of support together, and it'll be a part of the correspondence for our next meeting. And I will, I'll make sure that we request being involved in this research, Stonington waters. Anything else?
Sounds good.
Thank
Do
you,
we need
Alan.
to make do we need to make a motion that we would consider issuing a letter of support?
I don't know. What do you think, Don? Do we need a?
It doesn't, obviously, I'm not sure it rises to that level. Usually we do it by consensus, but there's nothing
Okay.
wrong with doing a vote.
Well, I think that Alan has explained it well and, has got the letter drafted, so I'm in favor of a letter of support.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second. And Alan, thanks for spearheading this.
Yep, not a problem. It looks really interesting, and my hope is that we will see the results and some of the results applicable to our aquaculturists and supporting them in their efforts.
Okay, so we'll need a vote.
Yeah, Austin, by the way, that was John that seconded.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I realize you're not on video.
Right.
Yeah.
So Alan, if you say all in favor,
That's all I was just about there. All in favor of sending this letter off.
Aye.
Aye.
Looks unanimous.
Aye.
and I abstain.
The chairman is staying. We have 4 in favor.
Great. Thank you, Alan, for doing that. That was a lot of reading, I know, and writing today, and I appreciate you doing all that.
Not a problem. I'll shoot it out tomorrow. I think their submission date is next Tuesday. So,
Okay.
I'll get this into Dr. Vlahos tomorrow.
Yep. And this is going to be out under Alan's signature on behalf of the Shellfish Commission.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Okay. On to enforcement. I don't think I have anything to report on enforcement unless you do, Rob. Nope. But on equipment, you probably know what our timing is for getting the boat in the water and all that stuff by now.
The cover comes off April 1st.
Yep. I'm having a hard time hearing you, Rob.
All right. The cover comes off April 1st.
Okay, April 1st.
Yes. And then we go from there. I guess I'm dealing through down south office, the way they want to run it. I've had some conversations with the mechanic, so we'll see how it goes.
So you've worked the schedule out with Cassandra?
Yes.
Okay. I'm hoping to take the April, if all goes well with the work, I'm hoping to take the April samples from the boat.
The cover comes off April 1st.
Yeah.
And a tentative delivery date of April 15th.
Yep. Okay. I'll be sampling on Monday, I think, this coming Monday, and I'm hoping that's the last of the sample by walking in the water. Okay, thanks, Rob. So as far as the finances are concerned, we have just a couple of sales. I sold a couple of permits, several permits for $155, which I turned in. And I guess $175 total. And so this time of year, we start to pick up, but it's still a little bit early. Month of February was pretty crummy weather, but I expect it'll be starting to get interesting later. And we've had some unbelievably low tides, which I was pretty jealous about, although I wouldn't want to be out on the water with that wind. So I think that's pretty much the end of our meeting.
John,
Yeah.
do you have any idea when we might have face-to-face meetings with all the proper protocol?
The answer is I don't know, but I'm going to ask that question. Now, a few of us have probably had our double shots. I know that Alan has and I have.
I have.
Yeah, so there are a few of us, but there are a bunch of youngsters. You're zero still, Rob? There are a bunch of youngsters among us.
Right, my second one Saturday.
So
Okay,
Don-
good.
Don, it sounds as if Governor Lamont has really made some fairly major changes.
Okay,
And just recently, just today,
okay.
opening
That's right.
the state. And that may give us an opportunity to meet together again in person. I think it'll have to do with Danielle Cheeseborough and how she feels about the town meetings. But Lamont has made quite a major statement today about opening up.
Well, I'm pretty excited about that, so I don't have to worry about the internet working every week and squirrels eating my eating the lines. So I'd rather drive over to Pawcatuck and meet in that meeting room. But I will. Gail Phoenix at the land use office is the person who provides me with the guidance on meetings, and I will touch base with her and ask for about the 12th time what the prospects are.
That'd be great.
I'm really pretty tired of this internet thing, to tell you the truth.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So,
And can you imagine how the kids feel about it, Don?
oh my gosh, I put that note in the email to Catherine Ellis at Stonington High School. I just cannot imagine the stuff that they're doing on a day by day basis, and she's afraid of COVID, like all the teachers are. Anyway, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Who got the
Can
second?
we just identify that, please?
Alan moved to adjourn the meeting.
Don second.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much, everybody. I'm glad the
Aye.
squirrels, the squirrels didn't do us in.
Good night, guys.
Aye.